Hello there folks, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program at Kerbal Space Command. Alright, well, I think we ought to set out some goals for ourselves this episode, and in doing so, thank you, this is the tracking station. I don't think I've shown this to you yet, however people familiar with Kerbal Space Program are intimately familiar with the tracking center. And as you see, we're in Kerbal right now. That's this little tiny pale blue dot. And orbiting it is the moon. And then orbiting around the moon, well, actually not around the moon, but on an orbit outside of the moon is Minmus, which is a tiny little frozen little ice ball of a moon, almost like a captured asteroid or something. And that's another target for us to land on. However, the main thing that I want to try to do this series is, as you can see, we have Kerbal, we have Duna, which is a Mars type planet, a little bit smaller than Kerbal, but it has a very, very tenuous atmosphere. It's also red. If we zoom in, we can kind of take a peek at it. It also has a actually pretty nice moon called Ike. It also has a pole and another pole on the bottom. Ike here is just a little lumpy potato of a moon, but it's a moon nonetheless, and it orbits fairly close. However, like I said, our objective is actually going to not make it to Jewel, but make it to one of Jewel's moons. Let's see here, which one? We have Lathe, we have Val, we have Tylo, we have Bop, and we have Pole. We're going to see if we can make it to Lathe. Lathe is a very, very, well, Kerbal-esque type moon. It's got what appears to be water, it has islands, and it has an atmosphere. So it's very, very homely for those Kerbans that want to live somewhere else other than Kerbal. And as you can see, there's all these sorts of planetary bodies we can try to land on. If we're absolutely crazy, we can try to land on Dres, or possibly even Ilu. Dres is a very, very, very small and hard target to hit. As you can see, it's in the asteroid belt. It's supposed to be a analog of Ceres, which is the largest dwarf planet in between Mars and Jupiter. And it's supposed to be kind of an analog to that dwarf planet. And actually, there is a spacecraft by NASA called Dawn that is orbiting Ceres right now. So go check that out on their NASA website if you really want to. It's actually kind of cool stuff that's happening in space news recently. Anyhow, back to Kerbal Space Program. So that is a very, very lofty goal for us to try to make it to Jewel and the moon Lathe around Jewel. So that's why we kind of have it on easy mode, sort of. And all this money is going to be used when we make absolutely massive rockets trying to make it there. So right now, if we go to our mission control, we have 2 max contracts that we can possibly fulfill at any given time because our research center thing is fairly small. Or not our research center, but our mission control is fairly small, so we might want to upgrade that. And we do have the money, as people have said, so we'll probably do that. And right now our active mission is to test the Rockomax brand decoupler in flight over Kerbal. However, we're also going to do more than that. We're going to gather some science. We're not going to power play this. I mean, we could power play this and gather all the science we ever need to make it to Jewel just by doing random things around the Kerbal Space Command, but that's no fun at all. So we're not going to do that. We're actually going to go fly and have some fun. However, like we said, we're going to upgrade this so we can have more than one contract at any given time. Also, we probably should upgrade... Let's focus on Kerbal. Should probably upgrade the Kerbal, the mission control, or not mission control, the object tracker, the tracking station, so that we can track more than, one object at any given time, or more than, I think, several objects. But we're going to upgrade that. There we go. Now we can track, I think, 3. Does it say? It doesn't say. Anyhow. That's much better. So now we can actually probably go ahead and go to research development, see if we can research anything. We have 67.8 science, which is enough for aviation. We could do some aviation around Kerbin, gather some science that way. That's not too cheaty. And the rest of this stuff is a little bit more expensive at 90 science, so we're not going to be able to get any of these higher tier things right now. However, we could try to make an aircraft. Yeah, sure, we'll research it because we need to research aviation so we can get to the landing stuff, so that we can land on, well, the moon and Minmus and, well, other planets for that matter. So also aerodynamics is nice because we get nose cones and fairings, so we do need to research aviation, and we did, so that's good. Heavy rocketry is probably going to be next. We have these massive rocket boosters and stuff. Alright, well, that is enough talk for this section. Well, let's take a look at what we have, and then we'll see if we can maybe make it to the moon or not. So we have the Mark 1 cockpit, which is kind of like a jet cockpit. We have the Mark 2 inline cockpit, another jet type cockpit. We have the Spacecraft probe, which is awesome, but usually you want solar panels or something to put on the Spacecraft, otherwise it'll run out of electricity if you want to transmit any data, and you kind of do, so we're probably not going to use the probe right now. We're probably going to stay with the Mark 1 cockpit if we're going to build a rocket. And we have lots of liquid fuel rocket boosters, or liquid fuel rocket tanks rather, and we even have the external fuel ducts so we can make proper fuel line staging things. I am so scientific in my words. Alright, and we have the thumpers. I think we had that last episode, and we have the other solid rocket boosters and jet engines, and we have the Terrier liquid fuel engine, which is a very, very small engine, good for transfer orbits and whatnot. Command and control, we still have our inline reaction wheel. We have our decouplers, small one and a big one. Structural fuselage for aerodynamic stuff, and another adapter from small to even smaller. That's about it. And the ever important space tape. And we have our aerodynamics now, which is nice. We could make some sort of, I don't know, something or other. And we have landing gear, so we can, you know, land and whatnot. And in science, we finally have a thermometer, a better comms, and then we still have the stuff we had last episode. So I'm going to go and build something, and we'll meet you back. Alright, so here we are with the Space Cruiser Mark 1. This is actually quite an expensive craft here. It is 30,448 credits. However, it has a bunch of science in it, and this whole ship is meant to make it into a high Kerbin orbit. Right now we were able to make it to a low Kerbin orbit, which is essentially just barely above the atmosphere. So hopefully we're going to make it quite a bit further than that and do a whole bunch of really good science whilst there. So we have our Science Junior on here that we're going to do while in high Kerbin orbit. And when we open this bay up, you'll see that there's all sorts of things in here. We have our goo container, we have a comms, we have 2 batteries. So we're also going to put a scientist on board this so that he can reset the goo canister in case maybe we even maybe make it into a Mun intercept orbit. We're probably not going to land on the Mun or orbit the Mun, but we can reset the experiments with a scientist. So we're probably going to bring a scientist along with us. As well as that, we have a thermometer there. If you can zoom in, you can kind of see it. Yep, there's the thermometer. So we got thermometer, comms, goo, 2 batteries. Close this. We have 2 SAS. We have a parachute, 2 side parachutes, 4 landers, a heat shield, and then there is our staging. This is a medium-sized fuel tank. It's the T400, and then we also have underneath that we have the Terrier liquid fuel engine, and then another decoupler. We have 2 of these large fuel tanks here, which are the T800s, and then we have a gimbaling engine in the center, and then attached to those are 4 radial decouplers attached to similar fuel tanks with aerodynamic nose cones on the top, with the engines that are best inside of the atmosphere with a max thrust of 200. They're the reliant ones, not the swivel ones. So that's those. So we have 1 gimbaling engine in the center. So our first stage is going to be essentially this. And also, as you can see, we have fuel lines here. And that means that the fuel will feed from these outer tanks to the inner tanks, so when these outer tanks separate, the inner tank will still be completely full, so it will help boost us even further into the atmosphere, and hopefully into space. Also, we have winglets here to help keep us stable in the lower atmosphere. Also, I found out if you go a little bit slower, you have less of a chance of flipping over and doing backflips and whatnot. So we're going to try to keep it under 300, maybe 400 meters per second, well in the lower atmosphere. After that, it's balls to the wall. So, all right, that's about it for this ship. We should probably look at the staging. So we want these firing at the same time as well as this one. So the structural enhancer things will detach. And then all of these engines, these 5 engines on the bottom, will fire. And then these will detach. This engine will keep on firing. And then this decoupler will detach. And then the engine up here in this fairing will fire. And then that will detach. And then we can deploy our parachutes when we are safely within the atmosphere. Alright, we're going to save this. And for the crew, we're not going to take Jeb. As much as we love Jeb, we need a scientist. So Jenny Kerman is going to be flying this thing, which means that we can't really use SAS, but well, actually we can, because we do have these SAS modules on it. But if we didn't have these SAS modules, we wouldn't actually be able to use SAS, because SAS is enabled by a pilot if you don't have these SAS modules on it. So that is that. Good old Jeb with his 1 star. Alright, let's save this. We're not going to launch it quite yet. We're going to see if we have any contracts we can fulfill. I believe we have the Terrier engine on board. So let's go to mission control. Do we have anything for the Terrier engine? Skipper, Poodle, Kickback, Weasel, visual surveys of Kerbal, fly by the Mun. We might actually be able to do that, but I'm not entirely sure right now. So at the very least, we're going to test the Rockomax brand decoupler. So that's our active mission. None of these other ones I really feel like doing, unfortunately. We don't have any of these engines to do them with. So we could test the Weasel engine by making a space plane this episode, which might not be a bad idea. So let us enter the launch pad. And we had the, what was it called? It's in here somewhere. There we go. Space Cruiser Mark 1. And we're going to launch this guy. Oh, unable to launch. Why is that? Craft is too large for the launch pad. Well, you know what that means. Upgrade. Hey, cool. We even have a little tower now. So let's take a look at that. Hopefully it should be... Oh, it is fully upgraded. So we should definitely be able to launch it now. So where's this Space Cruiser Mark 1? Unfortunately, why is Jeb piloting this? We should have made Jenny. That's who. We're going to save that. And let's change our mission flag to... What should we possibly do for a mission flag? I kind of do like this orbit one. Very nice looking, so we're gonna take that, because we're hopefully gonna make it into orbit this particular launch. So, well, change of plans, I guess. Jeb's coming along, which means we can use our SAS, which is, you know, fine by me. So, I guess, Jeb, you're coming along for the ride. We do need an experienced pilot on our hands, I suppose. So, without further ado, let's launch this thing. And as you can see, this is a much heavier spacecraft, so it's not flying nearly as fast as it was before. So, actually might need to throttle down because we don't want to waste too much of our fuel pushing through the densest part of the atmosphere. But once we get above 20,000 meters, we'll be all set to go balls to the wall, full throttle, and whatnot, and etc. So, in fact, if we're just going to go for a high space above Kerbal, we might as well just go completely straight up. It doesn't really matter if we orbit or not. We just want to get science from space high above Kerbal. So, you know what? I'm just going to stay directly on our prograde marker, and we're just going to go as fast as we can and see how high we can get as an altitude. And while we're out there, we can do some... Well, we can't quite do an EVA yet because I need to upgrade the center down there. But we can do some science and stuff from the space high above Kerbin. And we are really, really booking it. So, full throttle. We are above the densest part of the atmosphere. And as you can see the atmosphere kind of curving. You can see the curvature of Kerbin already. Pretty awesome. And we're really going quite quick. And we're going to be dropping off our tanks any second now. And drop off our first stage. Second stage is still going. And as you can see, we have plenty of... You know what? We have so much fuel, we might as well try to make it into an orbit. I'm just going to kill our throttle right now because we have absolutely so much fuel. We have these 2 tanks, and we still have our second stage, so we might as well make it into an orbit. Right now, our apoapse is at 164,000 meters, so if I burn at slightly below the 90-degree mark, we might be able to make a decent orbit. Alright, well, there we go. And it will probably create an apoapse that's really, really high, but that's exactly what we want, is we want an apoapse that's incredibly high. So let's just burn like this for a while. It'll increase our lateral velocity, which will increase our trajectory until the trajectory creates an orbit. So it might take a little bit here. Can't really time warp while under acceleration, so in the meantime we can enjoy the views. We can go into IVA. And yes, all these little dials and doodads and stuff actually work. It tells you the SAS is on. You can tell... It tells you if RCS is on, if we have high Gs. There's the nav ball right there. It gives you orbital information. And something right there. We have our radar altitude, which is pegged right now because we're really high. And our vertical speed, as you can see, is, well, it's actually slowing down. Our vertical speed is slowing down, however, our lateral speed is increasing. And there's our little atmosphere indicator at the top there. And you have a little window. And here, as you see, our trajectory is increasing. It's going to create a nice orbit. I could go to the apoapse and wait here to burn, but by burning before the apoapse, I'm actually creating a higher apoapse. So that's alright, and we have plenty of fuel left. So, no real harm done there. One thing to take note of, though, is I do believe that... let me exit out of there. There we go. I do believe that this engine right here does not have... or it does not actually create electricity, so we're going to have to be very, very careful with how we use it. And there we go. I'm just going to see where our orbit is right now. I believe we're in an orbit. Okay, so I'm actually going to wait until we're at our periapse before we burn, because that'll save on a little bit of fuel. So let's do the dance around Kerbin. And alright, let's actually I could probably turn off the SAS right now. There's no need to have it on when there's no interference from the atmosphere. Hey, there's the Mun. We're gonna get to you soon enough. Okay, we're pretty close to our periapse right now, so I'm gonna go to the mini-map, find our periapse, right about thereabouts. So now let's find prograde, which is right there. Hello. Oh, just past prograde. Lock onto SAS and increase our throttle. We got to make sure we keep enough fuel so that we can make it back into the atmosphere, but that shouldn't be an issue. Oh man, this is a very, very fuel efficient rocket. And here we go. Our apoapse is increasing quite a bit, so maybe we'll even make it to somewhere in between, halfway in between the Mun and Kerbin. That would make me a very, very happy little Kerbal. So there's the sunrise. Very, very nice. Well, let's thrust full speed. Actually, you probably don't want to be full speed right now, because as you'll see, the orbit will keep on, or the orbit will actually, the apoapse will actually increase almost exponentially the further we get out from the center of the gravity well of Kerbin. As you can see, it's already increasing really, really quickly. And before you know it, we might actually hit the... I'm actually going to cut our throttle because I want to make sure we have fuel. Yeah, we just have plenty. And as long as we burn at the apoapse of... or you burn retrograde at the apoapse, we will bring down our periapse very, very quickly. So we really don't need too much fuel, especially when our periapse is only 101,000 meters. We only have to burn off a couple meters per second of delta V before we're actually in the atmosphere again. So we can actually can burn quite a bit. This isn't a big enough rocket to make it to the Mun, but if I actually burned properly, we... Oh, holy crap, we're past the... past the orbit of Minmus, so that's definitely high space above Kerbin, so I think we can safely enjoy ourselves as we fly way out there. Goodbye, Kerbin. Be back in a bit. And there it goes, shrinking in the distance and rotating underneath us. That's a beautiful sight to behold. All right. Let's look at our map. We're not even close to all the way out there, so by the time we're at our apoapse, Kerbin's just going to be a little speck in the distance. Hey, there's Minmus. You can see it way off there, and there's the Mun is just a little tiny speck right now. Alright. So far, this mission has taken 1 day already. So that's how long it's taken to get out this far. All right, let's see how far. We're not even halfway there yet. So let's go all the way out. Okay. I'm just going to use the map view because I don't want to accidentally go too far. Oh, we have an intercept with Minmus? Really? We have an intercept with Minmus. If we orbit the planet once, we'll have an intercept with Minmus, which will actually bring us back into the atmosphere of Kerbin. So we're definitely going to do that. We unfortunately can't reset our experiments, but what we're going to do is we are going to transmit what data we can. We're going to transmit our crew report so that we can do a crew report from an intercept around Minmus. I think it'll be flying high over Minmus. So that'll actually be really awesome. I didn't even intend for that to happen. So fun things like this happen when you play this game. All right, and when we're at our apoapse, we're going to do some science. All right. In fact, we might not get another opportunity like this to do stuff around Minmus, so I might actually save some of our science. I might only do a crew report out here, and we'll do the rest of this stuff around Minmus. So let's look at how tiny that is. It's teeny, teeny, tiny. It's adorable. All right. Our electrical charge is still absolutely fine. Let's open our cargo bay. The reason we're going to open it is because we need this antenna to extend. So we are going to do a crew report. Crew report while in space high over Kerbin. Crew reporting in from space. Really? No data from that. That's kind of annoying. What about... Well, actually, I don't want to waste any of my other stuff then. Because I don't think I've ever made it high in space over Kerbin. But, whatever. So, I guess we will close this, and we will have to... Well, we'll get that intercept. In fact, I don't want to get Jeb stranded on Minmus, but we could actually land on Minmus if we wanted to. Which is kind of crazy to think. In fact, from what I understand, it takes less delta V to land on Minmus than it does to land on the moon, because the Minmus gravity well is far, far less. Okay, well, Hey, there you are, Minmus. We're going to get a nice close-up view of you pretty soon. Well, not close-up. Our periapse is still over 1,000,000 meters away, but... And... don't want to miss our intercept, because it's a very, very short window where we're intercepting. And let's see, where's our periapse going to land us? Our periapse is actually going to be in the atmosphere, so we don't have to save any fuel. So what I might actually do is, well, let's slow down. I'm going to see if I can get closer to Minmus. Add maneuver. I believe if we burn retrograde, that will bring our periapse closer. Woo! It doesn't look like it's bringing it much closer. Oh no, yeah, the periapse is going to be a little bit closer if I burn retrograde. How much closer? It says... actually, no, the periapse is going to get further away. What if I burn faster? No, I guess we'll just won't do anything then. It just so happens that we're going to get a small gravity... well, actually, we're going to... the gravity of Minmus is actually slowing us down, which is why we're going to be intercepting with the atmosphere. So it's not going to be a gravity boost, it's going to be a gravity break, actually. Okay, and there's Minmus. Alright. Okay, so, there we go. I'm going to slow down. And we're going to look. Where are you, Minmus? There you are. Hello. Someday we're going to reach you properly. But until that time, we're going to do some crew reports. Crew report while in space high over Minmus. Looking at the surface of Minmus, it reminds you of that favorite childhood dessert. You are tempted to taste the surface. Keep data. So important. Observe materials bay. The high radiation environment caused a few of the samples to glow. It looks like it would be fun to paint the rocket with this. Okay. Keep data. 125 science if we manage to actually not crash. So yeah, let's keep this. Observe the goo. The goo feels right at home here. Observational in space high over Minmus. That's a lot of science. A lot of science indeed. Also, we have our thermometer, also known as a thermometer. So let's log temperature. Measuring the temperature of space appears to be quite impossible, as there is no matter around here, either hot or cold, except the spacecraft and the thermometer itself. This is probably going to give R&D guys something to think about for a while. 40 science. I love that. All right. Well, that's really all we can do. We can't EVA right now. We actually might want to burn a little bit retrograde so we land on the light side of Kerbal. Because right now we're going to be landing on the dark side. We'll also use the rocket to slow down so we don't burn up in the atmosphere. I know we do have a heat shield, but it's an ablative heat shield, which means that it will take damage as it goes through the atmosphere. It can only burn up so much, is essentially what an ablative heat shield is. Alright, well, that was a successful little journey. I'm going to see if we can do an IVA and see if we can see them, see Minmus. Well, maybe I have to do it from out here so I kind of can see. Okay, so there is the little viewing port. It's right about there, and that's got to be about right. Almost. There it is. Hi, we found Minmus. We're going to get to you soon enough. Well, that was fun. Alright, enough time dwelling on Minmus. Let's get back and do some proper science. Or rather, cash in our science that we did do. So, let's time warp. And we're gonna make our way back. Ooh. Wonder why the time warp slowed down. Probably because we're not in the... Yep, we're not in the Minmus contact anymore. And make sure our periapse is still there. Once we're at our apoapse, we're going to burn retrograde a little bit. So, actually, let's stay in this view. And We're going a massive 40-something meters per second. And, oop, there we go. 37 meters per second. So we're going really, really slow right now. Well, as far as orbits are concerned, it's really slow. So let's go here, find it retrograde. Suppose we have to slow down first. There is retrograde. And slow down to about 0 meters per second. Like I said, it wouldn't take much to bring our orbit down. And there we go, we're already intercepting somewhere on the light side, so I'm all for that. Where is the sun? Right there. Should still be the light side. Alright, well. And whoa, don't want to speed up too much, otherwise we'll crash into the planet. I've done that before. I'm sure people that have played Kerbal Space Program have done that before too. Oh, no, no, don't go too quick. Alright. Right now we're probably booking it. We're probably going really, really fast right now because the gravity of Kerbin is pulling us in at a steady 9.8 meters per second, I believe is what... Well, I know that's what the Earth's gravity is. Meters per second squared, rather. Yeah, we're going, like, really fast, so we're going to want to slow down. Because I'm not sure how much this heat shield can take, and we don't want to lose any of our scientific data. And no, don't burn prograde, burn retrograde. Okay. And we have so much fuel left, it doesn't hurt to use it to help slow us down. I don't think we have 1,100 meters of delta V left in this rocket, but we'll see. It is a fairly light rocket, so it does help slow us down quite a lot. Yay, Jeb is having the time of his life. Alright. It's a very, very pretty view from up here. Not actually sure where we're going to land, and we might actually be able to do an EVA report, too. Actually, I don't think we should, because then we'll probably lose some of the data, because I'm not sure that we're going to land too close to KSP command, so we might not actually be able to recover everything if Jeb is not inside of the vehicle. And there's the last of our fuel, so deploy that. And the rest, we're falling down. And there's nothing that's going to stop us except for our heat shield and our parachutes. So, down we go. Oh, no, 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 no. Holy crap, that was quick. Well, that's good. We're not dead. And, no. And, yeah, we're going to be burning up, it looks like. Well, there goes our parachutes and stuff. Oh, Jeb. Looks like we still have a parachute left, so we're going to try our best. Well, no, we still have a whole bunch of parachutes left. We just lost our landing gear. So that's fine with me. And we still have all of our science left. All of our science. Our command pod is really hot. It's glowing right now. But we didn't lose anything important. I should have been a little bit more gentle with that, but whatever. Landing gear is landing gear, and we're landing in an ocean, so not that it makes that much of a difference. So, let's... as you can see, we did take some damage, though. But we'll gently float our way down to the surface at a gentle 4 meters per second, which is more than slow enough for a nice ocean landing, which will hopefully help put our fire out on our Science Junior there. Okay, this is not actually on fire, it's just really hot. Alright, well that was a very successful mission. Hopefully we can recover the vessel. Yes, we can. Alright. In fact, we might actually be able to do science, but nah. I don't want to do an EVA and jeopardize all this. Recover the vessel. Get some mad science from this one. Alright, 270 science. That's what I call a success. Got some of our money back, not much. And some XP gained. 3 XP for Jebediah Kerman. I guess it's a good thing we took him along, because that SAS really did help us when we were launching. So, well, I don't need to upgrade that, but we do need to upgrade, what is it? The astronaut complex, because we want to be able to do EVAs, and we want to be able to plant flags eventually, so of course we're going to upgrade that. And research science limit is at 100, so we're going to want to upgrade this because we're going to be passing or surpassing some of the science goals pretty soon. But right now we're just going to research what we can research with our 292 science. So we have these things. We have Poodle liquid fuel engines, Skipper liquid fuel engines, and the Kickback solid rocket boosters. Both of the, or all of these have missions, so we might want to do those just for the money. Also, they have the Spark, and I believe the, I don't know about Ant, but I know there's a Spark engine. We have a mission for the Spark engine. Ooh, the Hitchhiker storage container. That would be good, but we don't have enough rocket components to launch something like that yet. Same thing with the pressure mat barometer. However, we really would like the Pegasus mobility enhancers, which are essentially ladders that you can put wherever you want on your spacecraft. So that'll help you with landing and creating rovers and stuff. Advanced construction, we get more radial decouplers and whatnot. And landing, we've looked at landing before. Miniaturization gives us some smaller adapters and stuff, mostly for probes, but for probes, as I've said before, we need photovoltaic cells. Also, this type of battery pack is really nice because you don't have to have a a service bay for it, because it fits right in line with your rocket. But I think we're going to go with heavy rocketry so we can get some of these missions done. We're going to go with electronics so we can get photovoltaic cells, and we can do one more of these. And these we're not going to be able to do because we need to upgrade our facility. The one that we really want are command modules, so we can fit the Mark 1-2 command pod and the Mark II lander can and all of these things, because that is for the larger size rocket, but it fits 3 Kerbal knots, which means we can have a scientist, an engineer, and a pilot all in the same craft. So that makes it very, very nice. All right. Inline stabilizer, that might not be bad because we could really use some proper SAS. Also, a Mark I lander can. So we can use both the lander pod and a lander can, and we can have 2 Kerbal knots on the same ship. It's kind of like the same thing that Apollo did, except Apollo used probably more or less something like this and something like this, not something like not the small one that we were taking a look at before. Yeah, not something like this and the Mark I command pod. Anywho, enough talking about real life stuff. Let's see what we actually could use. Propulsion systems. I think we're gonna have to go with, well, we really, really would like these larger fuel tanks and whatnot, and to do that we need to research advanced propulsion. However, I think we are going to have to go with this one so we can get the inline stabilizer and the lander can, and also RCS. So yes, we're gonna do that. All right, let's close that, and we have this. Anything that we can do here that might be nice. Fundraising campaign takes 5% of our reputation gains, yields some money for each unit of reputation. Setup costs a little bit, and we can also increase that. But right now, we don't need money, so that's not an issue. Unpaid programming is essentially yields science for reputation. Takes 5% of funds income and yields 1 science for each. Holy crap, that's a lot of money. So it's essentially turning money into science. Not a bad thing to do. Also sellout, which is we can sell all of our science for money, which doesn't really give us that much, and we don't really need money. However, we did use a significant amount on that last rocket. Also, there's other things I don't think we need to do right now. So, I think that has been a very successful mission of Kerbal Space program. So thank you folks for watching, and I will see you folks next time.